Manny Fernandez is one of 6 central defenders on a list of targets that Feyenoord are monitoring. It doesn't really come as a major surprise because John McGlynn sort of let the cat out the bag a little bit in terms of scouts at the Falkirk Rangers game the other week. And but I'm told people in Holland are think that there's a bit in this. There is some serious interest. If that's the case, when we talk about again the player trading model, what do Rangers do if people start bidding for Fernandez this summer?
It's tough. It's tough, isn't it? I think it's always tough when it's only been a year. Do you know what I mean? See if it's 2-3 years of progression and development, and then the big bid comes in, the big offer comes in. I think it's easier. That's then seen as the natural thing to do. You cash in at that point, but it's always hard. I think when it's only been a year. I think when it only has been a year, it then depends just how big the bid is, how big the offer is. Is it something that Rangers just can't afford to turn down? And
What are we talking? What much did they pay? 3.5?
Aye, something like that. Aye, 3.5 million. Might have even been less than that, Jack. Or might have been 2.5, 3 million for Peterborough. And remember, Peterborough, I did a piece with Barry Fry that long ago, and you know what Barry Fry's like. I mean, in terms of add-ons, Barry will have everything included in that, in terms of a heavy kind of sell on as well. So Rangers would need to think about that. It would need to be a really big bid. I mean, I don't know what you're talking, between 15 and 20 million quid to make them really think about it, really consider
Get
it.
them to the table.
Cashing in on the buying cheap and selling for a big profit. If it was something like that, they'd need to seriously think about it. But I suppose the flip side is, I say, it's only been a year.
And he's not had a full season because the first part of the season he wasn't playing. So
yeah, you're right.
I
has
don't
been
know.
A revelation, though.
Yeah, so and I think because his physicality and his size and his threat in the opposition box, as well as his height defensively, he's an asset, isn't he? I just wonder. I wonder if Rangers would find it difficult if they could turn a quick coin here. Would they do the deal? And it's the same conversation we had a few days ago about Braga at Hearts.
Yeah.
Do Hearts? Does someone sit there at Hearts and go, do you know what? If we keep Braga and we get another, big turnout on next season, develops further, we might be able to. What looks like good money now might be double that in a year's time. I wonder if it's a similar situation that Rangers would be in with Fernandez.
Yeah, and if Rangers were to win the league this season and go straight into the Champions League, the finances that come with that, then there wouldn't be that. First of all, there wouldn't be that need to sell in the summer, and also if you're then putting them into a Champions League environment, it could get even more money, even more eyes on him. So it's a tough one for Rangers, tough one for any of the Scottish clubs. They've got a big asset like that, and bids start coming in, offers start coming in. I mean, you would always say if the club's running properly and recruitment's running properly, as soon as that big offer comes in where you make a healthy profit, you accept it, and the next one comes in. You should have somebody else lined up. Whether that's the case with Rangers and Fernandez at the moment, I'm not sure, because it has been so quick, as you say. But if a serious bid like that comes in, they have a massive decision to make, because he's been brilliant for them. And Rangers fans, I know for a fact Rangers fans are looking at Fernandez and thinking, no, that can I build the team around him? But at 24 years of age, what an asset. He's had this season and getting into next year. He's used to Scottish football. He's got better with every game. Gets better every week when you watch him. He's cutting out he seems to be cutting out the wee mistakes that were maybe in his game at the start of the season. He looks like he's got so much potential and development in him to go and be a really, really top defender. So, as you say, do you cash in now, or do you try and get that value even higher? It's a tough decision.
Good point from Tam. Fernandez and Soapy, John Suter, are the only centre backs that we actually own.
Yeah,
that's a good point, because if Rangers are trying to build something for the longer term, do they really want another total rebuild, defensive rebuild, because that's what they'd be looking at if they did let him go, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They've got him in a long contract. As I say, only 24. It does feel like he's just at the start. I mean, he's just started his Rangers journey. So for him to leave, it would be a bit of a shock. I just think it would take massive money. For what Danny Rowe and Rangers are want to go and achieve, even the owners as well, in the next few years. It feels like they'll see Fernandez as a massive part of that, and I don't think they would have. No, they would have expected him to develop and progress and get better. That's why they signed him. That's why they plucked him for kind of relative obscurity at Peterborough. But I'm not sure they would have thought it would happen this quickly. But again, money talks. It's just the size of the fee. But it's interesting because we're talking about him now as a potential £20 million player, Jacko. No, he's a guy that.
Unit through that number on him, Scott.
Well, you'd need that amount to think about it, surely.